Late 90s, the era of video game innovation. New games were being created left and right. 3D games became much more common. Games like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and many others dominated the market as some of the most enjoyable games out there. This doesn't mean that 3D games were the only things out there, but most of the really big projects were 3D. Then, on April 26, 1999, a fantastic, creative, and really fun game came out. This game, Super Smash Bros. This game sold 1.4 million copies in Japan and 2.3 million in the US. Yeah, that's pretty good, especially for being in 1999. Unlike so many of my favorite games, this game has virtually no story. I guess you could put some bits and pieces together, but it isn't really too important. There's a lot of theories about it, but I don't really busy myself with that. And that's okay. I'd rather have much better gameplay and mediocre story than an awesome story but a craptacular experience. Little side note, while I was typing the script, the word craptacular was not flagged by autocorrect. Super Smash Bros. Was something completely unseen before. A game that involved so many Nintendo characters from different games all in one awesome fighting game with completely unique gameplay. There were also all sorts of different items you could use, making references to all the different Nintendo games. A heart container from Legend of Zelda, a maximum tomato from Kirby, a hammer from Donkey Kong, and my favorite, a Pokeball. From Pokemon, of course. Let's get started, shall we? So, if I had to rate the Smash Bros. Game compared to the rest of them, I would rate it last. I'm not gonna say it's a bad game, because it is so far from that. However, I definitely enjoy it the least of all the games. But I'll return to the problems with this game a little later. I want to show you something. Anyone recognize this? This is actually my most popular video. And I'm not quite sure why. It's pretty stupid, and obviously it was made before I had any sort of knowledge of how not to make everything cringeworthy. Check out the video if you want, it's pretty bad. Interestingly enough, if you Google how to unlock all characters in SSB64 and check the videos, mine is the third one to show up. Makes me happy to see that, although again, I don't quite understand why that video is my most popular one. Whatever, I'll take it. So as you can see, I really did like that game. So much so that it was one of the very few videos I actually posted that involved gameplay, since at the time it was really difficult for me to record gameplay videos. I actually had other videos planned for it, but they never came to fruition, but I definitely enjoyed this game. Like I mentioned in my intro video, I never actually played this game when it had just come out or anything. It wasn't until around 2009 or 2010 that I actually played it, but I still recognized it as a great game. Were it not for this game, I don't think Nintendo would have become as much of a video game powerhouse as it did. I know that's kind of a broad and hyperbolic statement, but I do truly believe that it really set up Nintendo for a very successful series. This game still sells well to this day, although the least of all four games pretty much just because it's the oldest and has the least content, and also isn't a tournament game like the others. It's a pretty fantastic game. It was the first perfect party game, aside from Mario Party, and the best thing about it was that it didn't ruin your thumbs. Solo play was pretty cool, although it wasn't as great as many other solo games you could get on the N64, like Super Mario 64 or any Legend of Zelda game. It seems like Classic Mode, or just called one-player mode in this game, was just put in there as a means to unlock characters and give some extra things to do. But it's still fun. I've always been an advocate of solo playing games, and I definitely feel like one-player mode is a very well-made addition to the game. It gives the player the ability to go through and play a sort of campaign, albeit a little short, and fight a boss that's not in multiplayer at all. There's also those little mini-games that a person can do, like break the targets, board the platforms, and race to the finish, although board the platforms is pretty boring and race to the finish is really easy, that keep the gameplay interesting. Multiplayer was pretty great in this game too. It honestly hasn't changed too much in later games. I know that this game didn't have 8-player Smash, Special Smash, tournaments, or many of those special things that later games added in. However, the core gameplay is still the exact same, which shows how great of a job they did at creating the multiplayer in this game. They didn't have to change any main thing about the game, just add things in. Now, remember how I said this game is my least favorite of the series? Again, it's not a bad game, but I definitely have some beefs with it. Probably the main thing is the very small amount of stages and characters, or at least small compared to the other games. 12 characters and 9 stages is pretty small, and it really limits the player with different possibilities of gameplay. I know, mathematics-wise, it's a massive amount of possibilities. This is why context is important. Another problem I have with this game is how difficult it is to land attacks, mainly smash attacks. Again, by itself and not including any of the later games in the series, this isn't really too much of a big deal, but in comparison to the rest of the games, it's pretty difficult to deal with. None of the smash attacks can be charged up for some bizarre reason, and many of the attacks don't do a whole lot of damage. And again, the attacks are pretty hard to land. Could be worse, could be better. Kinda like Pac-Man World 2, I struggled to find the things I dislike about this game. It was a little easier for this one than Pac-Man, but I still had trouble balancing out the good and bad. For that reason, I'll throw in another thing I dislike about this game, but it really is a pretty small deal. My last problem with this game is the game's lack of story. Like I said before, I'd rather have good gameplay than good story, but I still feel like this game could have done with some story. Some people theorize that Master Hand is supposed to be the player, or some person that's playing with the toys, mainly because of in the intro, he picks up the Mario doll and puts it on the table. I don't know if that's true, but it's just a theory.
A game theory.
Some games are better off without obvious stories, like Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm gonna get crucified for saying that, and Sonic Dreams Collection. Wait, not that last one. Let's just not even speak of that last one. But yeah, sometimes story is just better off being inferred rather than being blatantly obvious. So this gets a very mixed view by me. Well, that's pretty much all I can say about Super Smash Bros. For the N64. It's not a whole lot more that can be said, other than it's a great game to start the series. Without it, we wouldn't have one of the best series to ever exist in video games. It's pretty good. If you've played any other Smash Bros. Game, it can be pretty difficult to play. If you've never played the Smash Bros., this can be a good one to start with, especially since it'll make the other games seem that much better. However, compared to games nowadays, even games that aren't Super Smash Bros. Or Nintendo, the controls leave much to be desired, and there are quite a few other problems that it has. Check it out if you haven't before. It's worth your time. Well, those are my thoughts on Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. I'd like to know what you guys think about the game. Leave a comment about it. Click the annotations on the screen currently to take you to the other parts of the Super Smash Bros. In Retrospect series of videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.